Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be taking a look at an article. Now I'm getting to this a couple days late here. I mean, this is going up on the 7th and this came out the 4th. It's by Jesse David Fox. It's from the Vulture. I'm sorry, but just the title alone is actually funny, and I'm trying not to laugh saying it. How funny does comedy need to be? Well, considering it's comedy, you fucking leftist morons, it's gotta be fucking funny. Otherwise, it's not comedy. See, these idiots are now trying to transform comedy into indoctrination, into pushing social issues, into this and that. The concept of comedy was to get you away from the world and your troubles in the world and all of that. Now, they want comedy to be like the rest of the world, where they're pushing shit down your fucking throats. Why so serious, to quote a famous clown, is a question being asked about comedy more and more frequently by its consumers and by comedians themselves, to the point where some are questioning if it can be called comedy. Oh God. To the point of, I'm sorry, I had to stop there for a second. To the point of where some are questioning if it can be called comedy. Nanette is more a TED Talk than a stand-up special was a common refrain this summer. See, this is what gets me is they want the idea of that TED Talk fucking situation with Nanette to be considered comedy. That's what they want comedy to be now. I'm sorry, but it's not funny. Is Drew Michael even a stand-up special? Was a question I was asked about the audience-free HBO hour. To take it to scripted TV, I'm frequently reminded of a joke from Difficult People. Well, that's not exactly stand-up when you don't have an audience and it's scripted and all that. See, they're trying to make it sound like that is. This is what's fucked up. They're actually trying to, their non-funny bullshit where they're pushing their ideological propaganda. They're trying... That, like, because Saturday Night Live used to be funny, but because now all it is about pushing anti-Trump bullshit and their leftist ideology and their leftist crap, they now have to try to justify that comedy doesn't have to be funny. No, comedy does. That's the whole point of fucking comedy. I mean, this is some ridiculous shit. I mean, to take it to scripted TV, I'm frequently reminded of a joke from Difficult People. When did comedies become 30-minute dramas? Comedians and comedy writers are increasingly pushing the bounds of what it means for something to be a comedy in the most basic sense, rewiring the relationship between comedies and jokes. You mean no jokes. So what is comedy without jokes? It's post-comedy. No, it's not comedy at all. It's fucking, I paid to go see a fucking stand-up situation with a comedian telling fucking jokes, and now I'm getting ideology forced down my fucking throat, because if I get up and leave, that stupid bitch on the stage with that, like, you know, that one there, that Netflix one that they're talking about there, Natty or whatever it is, Natty Ice, if I was to get up and leave, she would probably point me out and scorn me, because I'm expected to sit there and put up with her fucking taking my money and not providing me with comedic relief. Sure, it sounds pretentious. It's a pretentious shift, especially for a form that has always seemed allergic to pretension. No, this isn't about pretentious. This is about you being stupid fucks who think that you can turn comedy into propaganda and it not even be funny. On top of that, but it seems the best way to describe comedy is that it's looking more like the frowning mask than the smiling one. I was confused to see some writers referred to Nanette Hanna's Gadsby's much-discussed stand-up special that deconstructed how stand-up works and passionately made a case for the shortcomings of comedy as a medium for expressing pain as anti-comedy. No, it was a fucking tragedy that she made people pay to sit through that shit. Though it isn't antagonistic view of comedy, anti-comedy is already a thing. Simply, it's a joke that's funny because it's not unfunny. No. That's no. Wow. Jesus Christ. This is why I did this. I'm doing this article, even though it's the 7th when this is going to be up. Because this is some ridiculous shit. I mean, they're trying to say, well, even though it isn't funny, it's because it's not unfunny. No. Something isn't a joke because it's not unfunny. Which is a nice way of saying, well, it isn't funny, but it's not funny. It's not unfunny. And it's not what Hannah Gadsby did. My colleague Matt Zoller seats his term for the serious comedies. The comedy in theory is closer, but it becomes increasingly clear that there are comedies in practice, formally redefining what comedy is itself. No, comedy, you cannot. All right, the second you redefine comedy the way you're talking, all right, it's no longer comedy because it's no longer funny. There's this major fucking aspect to comedy. That major fucking aspect is it needs to be funny. Holy shit. Wow. This is what I don't understand about the left now. They really think they can pass this shit off and people will buy it. Well, it ain't funny, but it's comedy. No, that's not how it works. Like post-rock, post-comedy uses the elements of comedy, be it stand-up, sitcom, or film, but without the goal of creating the traditional comedic result, laughter. Instead, focusing on tone, emotional impact, storytelling, and formal experimentation. So, translation. People laughing at comedy is now fucking bad. Oh no, you better not laugh at comedy. Better not do that. No, not at all. Because comedy isn't about laughter anymore. Oh, God. It's about experimenting and storytelling and indoctrinating and forcing, leftist bullshit down people's throats. The goal of being funny is optional for some or for the entirety of the piece. No, the goal of being funny is the only thing that should matter if you're doing fucking comedy. Holy shit. Wow, these people are fucked. This fucking guy is a moron. Really? Entirely? Totally? Completely? A moron. This is not the same as comedians making dramas or becoming serious actors, like we've seen in past generations. These pieces are comedy structurally. Drew Michael might be the clearest example, as it used the elements of stand-up but removed the audience, and in turn its direct relationship to funniness. However, there are plenty more. There are sometimes funny lines and characters on Atlanta, but more often than not, the comedy is tonal. This thing makes one feel lightheartedly odd. HBO's Barry finds itself slipping into similar space. Surprisingly, Atlanta's main director, Hiro Mari, has directed multiple episodes. See, this is what gets me is they're taking a show that isn't intended to be funny, having a funny moment, and saying, well, that justifies it. No, that's not how it works. That's not fucking comedy. They're not there to be a comedy show. But if they have a funny line in here and there, the audience isn't going to, be against that. This would be like Pied Piper. The show Silicon Valley, I mean. This would be like Mike Judge all of a sudden taking Silicon Valley and turning it into a fucking drama. And then going, it's comedy. That's not how it fucking works. I mean, they're using shows that are not comedies to back up the fact that comedy isn't funny. I mean, wow. BoJack Horseman has episodes that play as laughless dramas, but every once in a while your brain smiles when you remember a horse is talking. The reason why BoJack Horseman is doing so shitty on Netflix is because it's marketed as a comedy and it's not fucking funny. That's why I put it in my thing. I tried to watch it. I'm like, this is fucking stupid. It's not funny. Yeah, you got a talking horse. I could go watch Mr. Ed. At least that's fucking funny. I mean, Mr. Ed actually is funny. That's fucking tragedy. I mean, this is ridiculous. Post-comedy is a Julio Torres sketch that just feels quiet and sad in a humorously human way, or an episode of Joe Parrott Talks With You, where the comedy comes from sustaining a gentle melancholy and deadpan. Those things are not funny. You might find feels of quiet and sad is in a humorously human way funny, or a comedy where it's sustaining gentle melancholy. That's not funny. No one really finds that shit funny. 8th Grade is an absolutely brilliant coming-of-age comedy. It just lacks clear places to laugh. If there aren't places where you're laughing, it's not a fucking comedy. If there are not clear places that through punchline or whatever you're laughing, yeah, not a comedy. Sorry to break it to you, not funny. And while Hannah Gadsby tried to quit comedy in Nanette, instead comedy is evolving to include not comedy. If it's not comedy, it's not comedy. Still unsure, maybe watching an SNL writer Gary Richardson's short film Thank You Places will help you clarify a little. No, we're not going to watch that fucking shit because it's not funny. We're talking about comedy, and they're trying to use this. We don't have time because this is already going to be a long-ass video because this is a long article. So we're not going to go and watch the video too. If you want to watch it, I'll put the link in the article, link for the article in the description. Or at least I'll try to remember to. This type of work is not completely without precedent. I'm thinking of certain early SNL work, especially Tom Schiller's short films, or Beth Ladenpill's influential LA alternative comedy show Uncabaret that asked comics to not do their acts and instead focus on stream of conscious storytelling. Okay, the stuff that you're talking about, SNL or early's work, what in particular? Because SNL back in those days, you're misrepresenting, because I think you need to rewatch. They really didn't do that type of shit. The unfunny shit. Alright. Now they do unfunny shit. But in the years since Louis premiered, it has not only become more common, it has tended to dominate the conversation around comedy. No, Louis, that's not funny. It's hard to not see this is a direct result of an era in which comedy and comedians are celebrated, but not exactly for being funny. No. You idiots on the left want to celebrate them for more than fucking comedy. Everyone else just wants them to tell fucking jokes. We don't want Amy Schumer pushing her political shit and her fucking rotting, festering snatch in our faces. Okay, we don't want to see that 4 cows had to die so that she could have a leather fucking outfit and that we can read her lips with. And I'm not talking the ones up, above on the neck, on the face. Smash cut to 9/11, or I guess star wipe to a few days after when the late night host came back on the air and the myth of Jon Stewart began to take shape. Gone were the days of Jon Stewart, the man with curiously a lot of material about smoking cigarettes, and in their place a modern-day Walter Cronkite. Oh my God, he was still fucking funny when he... Oh, wow. You're trying to compare... Wow. He actually was funny. Okay, you can't use him to back your shit when he was actually funny. It does not work like that. Did you know that during his run, more young people got their news from The Daily Show than any other source? Of course you did. Everyone did. By October 2004, when Stewart famously went on Crossfire, he left the show as America's bullshit caller-in-chief. The narrative became, comedians are truth tellers, so good at telling the truth, they are more important to the State of the Union than actual journalists. No. See, this is what's funny. See, because now, this little shitbag is trying to say, oh, well, you need to listen to Fallon. To fucking Fallon. Oh, you need to listen to that South African little puke that took over for Jon Stewart. Oh, you need to listen to Sarah B. Oh, you need to listen to this person because they're the truth tellers. No, that's not how it works. You people are fucking propagandist hacks. Fast forward a few months to a different person, but the same network. Dave Chappelle quits Chappelle's show, as the story goes, over concern that people watching, specifically white people, were laughing at the wrong parts of his jokes, obscuring the comedy's intention. Oh my God, that is such bullshit. Dave Chappelle has even said that that's not even fucking true. You should do some fucking research. The reason why he left it was over the fact of creative control and shit like that. Let's be fucking honest, you dishonest piece of shit. All right, I love Dave Chappelle. I followed his shit when he left his show. I paid attention to that shit. Don't fucking try to say it was one thing when it wasn't. You fucking dishonest piece of shit. Wow. Chappelle was arguably one of the absolute biggest comedians of millennials' youth. No, sorry, he was actually bigger with Gen Xers. Millennials were too young to really be watching his shit. But, you know, let's revise shit here. So the conversation around his departure was particularly foundational. And while he was beloved for doing comedy, he was revered for stopping. Wow, this asshole really likes to change shit around and revise things. Not too long after you got Louis C.K. being called a genius for making an often jokeless show, and on his podcast, Mark McCon showing millions that comedians are complex, fascinating creatures who just happen to make people laugh for a living. Louis C.K., his fucking show sucked. People didn't watch his fucking show. Jesus Christ, every fucking shitty show that people hated. You're pulling up here, going, example. Give us good examples. Actual ones. Because Dave Chappelle doesn't back you. Not even remotely. Tig Notaro got cancer. Transparent premiered. Yada yada, Trump became president, and comedians were placed at the front lines of the resistance, regardless of what their act entailed. Oh my God. Yup, the Trump derangement syndrome's got to be worked in here. And this is a long-ass fucking article. Here we are, a lot of comedy over the last few years isn't funny, and there are no signs that things are getting any funnier. These things don't exactly happen by coincidence. In a fractured media landscape where ratings have become less important and more viewers are cutting the cord, the industry must rely on buzz to draw viewers to their content. For comedy, however, this is influenced by three factors that shape the nature of comedy. Criticism. What's funny is more subjective than what is dramatically resonant, so it's harder to reach a consensus of what is the funniest show as opposed to the show with the most well-drawn characters or most ambitious storytelling that just happens to be a comedy. No, that's all subjective. Nice try. All of it is subjective. Wow. Historically, comedies have been seen as having less artistic merit than dramas. Just look at the Oscars. Oh, wow. Now you're bringing up the Oscars. Wow. To say, oh, yeah, well, comedy's not supposed to be sophisticated, for fuck's sake. It's supposed to be funny. Oh, my God. This guy's a fucking moron. Because of a historic aversion to analysis, comics say that it ruins the joke. There are actually some funny fucking comedians that analyze shit. That actually analyze things. Holy crap. Wow. Comedy, so yeah, comics say it ruins a joke. Comedy comparatively lacks a historical history of formal criticism. No, it's constantly criticized, which leaves it more often judged by what it says than how it says it. Bullshit! Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Oh my God. This is complete bullshit. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. Because here's the reason why. Because they're trying to say it's judged on what it says, often judged on what it says than how it says it. Really? You really, truly feel that way? So, if Jim Brewer did his goat character and didn't deliver it the way that he does, because that's what you're saying it isn't how it's being said, it's what being said. You're saying if he delivered it totally differently, like if he delivered it like, you know, Jean-Luc fucking Picard, you know, like he was Patrick Stewart, You're saying that would still be funny. Actually, that would be kind of funny. Goat Boy Picard. Bad example. Okay, but if he read it seriously, I mean, leave the Picard out of it. But if he read it seriously, like a Shakespearean actor, and went, meh, like he was a fucking Shakespearean actor, you think that would actually be funny? No, it's how he delivers Goat Boy that makes it fucking funny. It's not what that's said, it's how it's said. Because isn't funny unless it's how it's being said. Because unless you do it a certain way, yeah, you're a fucking idiot. You really, truly are a fucking idiot. Wow. As a result, serious comedy, stand-up specials are more often given positive reviews. In turn, networks are more likely to buy comedies that fit that mold. Bullshit. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. Bullshit. The only ones who give them those positive reviews are intellectual fuckwit leftists that go and they rate movies and TV, and when they usually say something fucking sucks, I go and check it out because it's probably going to be really fucking good. Because the reason why it sucked to them is because it triggered them in some way. Wow. The shifts in content channels also directly affect the work comedians and comedy writers can try to make. The economy of selling comedic shows has completely changed. Sure, the big networks are still in the business of trying to make shows that reach a large mass of people. However, cable and streaming are incentivized to make things that generate critical buzz or have a niche but rabid fan base. It's a climate that allows for more experimentation, especially since these shows, ones like Transparent, BoJack Horseman, Fever, Kidding, Baskets, Atlanta, Crashing, Love, tend to get smaller episode orders so that there is less of a need to fill out plots with basic comedic sets and shenanigans. Let me translate that shit. Because the concepts fucking suck and we can't write more than what we can for fucking, say, 10 episodes because we're stretching it each time when we put out 10 episodes, okay? It's... You know, that's what we're trying to cover here because 10 episodes is all we can do because we're fucking morons. It ain't fucking funny. And if we gave people a full 20, oh God, especially with Baskets, that is some Galifianakis, all right? The only thing he's funny in that I've actually, like, and he gets old, I mean, because it's all the same shtick, is The Hangover. Okay, Baskets fucking sucks. BoJack Horseman fucking sucks. I don't even know fucking Forever or Crashing. These are shows that I've never fucking heard of, that most people have never fucking heard of. All right, they're these short little boutique, short run, fucking 10 or 8 or 6 episode fucking seasons, like series. And they're trying to say, oh yeah, these things are the future. No, it's not funny shit. The only reason why they order any episodes of that shit is to appease you stupid fucks. That's all. Without giving anything away, Forever, Alan Yang, and Matt Hubbard's upcoming comedy for Amazon deliberately makes certain experimental choices that you just couldn't make on TV even 3 years ago. One can argue that these dramatic comedies are more often influenced by forms like film, theater, or novels. However, past generations of comedy writers were also influenced by those same things. Now they're going to bring in an actual fucking classic that was funny, that had its dramatic moments, but yeah. That was, wow. There just wasn't a movement in that direction or a market appetite for it. Particularly dramatic episodes of MASH, Cheers, All in the Family, or The Mary Tyler Moore Show used to be noteworthy, remembered as special, rule-breaking episodes for decades after. Now they're a whole comedic series that live in those spaces. No. Okay. MASH, from the start, had its dramatic moments. See, you weren't even alive for MASH. I grew up through part of its run. I've watched every fucking episode in reruns because we didn't have cable and all that other shit and the internet and all that. Drama was throughout that, but it was actually funny too. See, you're trying to push this shit that ain't funny as comedy. The core of MASH was comedy, even though it touched on drama and current events. Cheers didn't have that many drama episodes. And even if there was dramatic aspects to an episode, the core of it was still a comedy, and it was still fucking funny. All in the Family, same thing. One of the reasons why All in the Family was so successful and was able to approach as many topics that were current at the time it was being made was because of the fact that it was actually fucking funny. That's how they did it. There was no real drama there. Okay? There might have been dramatic moments like when Edith died or something like that. But up to that point, you know, they would, you know, hit you. Just boom. Like snap of a finger. There's your drama. And they would leave with that, like Edith dying. See, but you weren't alive for that show either. You weren't alive for Cheers. You weren't alive for the Mary Tyler Moore Show. Did you even watch any of these things? Like, did you go online and see if you could find any episodes and watch them? Because you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. I was alive. Well, Mary Tyler Moore I saw on rerun. All in the Family, I think I was alive for the tail end, but I pretty much watched it in rerun. Cheers, I grew up during. MASH, I caught the last. I was old enough to where I was starting to see some of the final seasons. But then like I said, I watched all of it in rerun. I've seen these shows. You don't know what the fuck you're talking about. They were still funny at their cores. The shit that you want ain't funny. I mean, this is some fucked up shit. You can see technology's influence on comedy even more in the stand-up special. When specials were rare occurrences, the comics' focus was on building an act that could sustain them for years. But the numbers of specials Netflix greenlights and the amount of money it spends on them is slowly subverting the fundamental structure of stand-up comedy, transforming it from a live medium to a filmed one. It was a filmed one back then. They filmed stand-up specials. They used to broadcast them on TV. Bo Burnham has told me in an interview for A Good One, started planning his last special, the tremendously influential Make Me Happy, with an eye to how it would look filmed. Not every comedian has Burnham's specific visual and staging sense, but you're hearing more and more comedians think of specials as film pieces. Eddie Murphy filmed his stand-up and made an actual movie that went into movie theaters. This shit ain't common. What the fuck are you talking about? Eddie Murphy sold out his Delirious, you know, what became the movie Delirious, the tour for that, and then sold out the movie theaters and made records with that. Jesus Christ. Oh, it's never happened before. We're doing this now. No, Eddie Murphy did it, and he was fucking funny. You're not. Just admit it. You guys are not funny. The left can't meme. The left can't joke. Amy Schumer's snatch is not funny. The pus oozing out of it from syphilis is not funny. It's disgusting. But you people think that type of shit's funny. It's not. You think drama can be passed off as comedy because you want to push propaganda. It's not going to happen. It's not going to be considered comedy because it's not fucking comedy. Wow. And with that, the audience, the one right in front of the comedian, and its laughs can be disposable, whether it's Burnham shooting the audience as a menacing black mass on Make Me Happy. Jared Carmichael is disregarding the live audience's enjoyment of his stand-up to try not to capture the discomfort of the film product on 8, directed by Burnham, or more recently, Drew Michael's special, filmed entirely without an audience. Yeah, because it's not funny, and if he filmed it with an audience, he would look like a fucking hack joke. He would be the joke. That's the point. To take it a step further, like everything that came after the financial crisis of 2008, wow. Oh, no. Somehow the financial crisis of 2008 has affected comedy, according to this fucking idiot. The comedy boom that kicked into high gear a few months later is colored by a distrust of institutions. There's always been a distrust of institutions. What the fuck are you talking about? In comedy, that has been consistent. And for comedy, the institution says capital C, comedy. What? Well, Hannah Gadsby is not American. Nanette became such a sensation here because it fits so perfectly with where things were going culturally. Oh my God! It bombed! It didn't do well on Netflix. What the fuck are you talking about? If this is the special with that fucking bitch sitting there talking about being molested and raped and shit, it didn't do well. In many ways, it felt like a continuation of recent specials that were directly about comedy and how it functions. Make Happy, Thank God for Jokes, Three Mics, though less explicitly, Cameron's Esposito's rape jokes. You'll listen to enough comedians talk on podcasts, and you'll hear a generation wrestling with comedy itself, and what it means to be a stand-up when there are fewer big opportunities but more small ones. You mean about self-censoring yourself and not pissing off people and being politically correct and, oh, you got to virtue signal and do all that. Oh, shut the fuck up. Comedy's supposed to be about laughing. Looking at all this together, what I'm seeing is a shift away from comedian as provider of a service, laughs, and towards a comedian as an artist. They were always artists. The result of their art was the laughter. But they're not going to be a comedian if there aren't any laughs, because the whole point of being a comedian is to make people laugh. Really, this shift has been happening slowly since the dawn of modern comedy. For over 100 years, though it isn't a straight line, experimentation and pathos have become more and more common. And along the way, people in comedy complained. That, of course, is still happening, be it in the difficult people joke noted earlier. Michael Wolff's recent takedown of political comedy, the vicious parody of comedian-fronted dramedies that were complicated. Jerry Seinfeld seemingly asking every guest on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee who is younger than he is, why a comedian should aspire to be truthful over being funny. This SNL sketch. Yeah, we're already 32 minutes in here. We're not going to look at the SNL sketch. I mean, this is just ridiculous. I might not even get through this whole thing. I mean, I'm already at 32 minutes. Let's go on here, because they're literally trying to push this not funny shit. I mean, I think you get the idea. I'm going to read a little bit further here, because, I mean, we're getting up to the tweets. We'll get up to that, and I think that's getting close to the end of it, because it's these tweets here at the end, as you see, before the end of the article itself. Yeah, they were talking about the rape fucking bitch. Her fucking bullshit. Yeah, so, yeah, all right. We'll bust through this as fast as we can here, because this is getting fucking ridiculous. Oh, God. These are the growing pains of an art form and transition. No, these are not growing pains of an art form and transition. These are the pains of people saying your shit ain't fucking funny. People don't find it funny, yet you want to keep pushing it as comedy. That's not how comedy works. That's not how the world works. If your shit, all right, or at least because you want this equality of outcome bullshit. Equality of opportunity. Put your shit out there. If it's funny, people will laugh. People will pay you for it. If it's not funny, well, then you ain't a fucking comedian and you're going to go find a real fucking job. That's how it should work. I spoke to Wayne Fetterman, the host of an upcoming podcast, The History of Stand-Up, a man who knows more about the history of comedy than anyone I've ever spoken to, about this new style of comedy and the grumblings among comedians and fans. He saw a direct parallel with the late 1950s when comedians like Joey Bishop and Alan King complained about young comedians putting out albums. Oh, God, this is nothing like that, and this is complete bullshit. Oh, my God. This has nothing, this is not a comparison. Which Joey Bishop and Alan King ended up putting out their own albums. So, sorry, not a good example. And what you're saying is someone taking their stand-up comedy, which is actually funny, putting it on an album and selling it, is comparative to someone who isn't funny calling their shit fucking comedy? Pull your head out of your fucking ass. That's not even a remotely close relationship. Wow. They were, in the veterans' eyes, giving away an act that could be toured on for decades. They vocally derided long stories like the 15-minute one Shelley Burnham tells his father on his album Outside Shelley Burnham for not having enough jokes. Sick comedy was a phrase coined for comedians like Berman, Lenny Bruce, Mort Sahl, and if she was a real person, the marvelous Miss Maisel, who would shoot a rapid-fire one-liner joke structure for something more in the moment and honest. Their shit was still fucking funny. Sick comedy. So it wasn't G-rated fluffy bunny shit. But they were still funny. You're now trying to pass off shit that was funny as comparable to shit that isn't funny. This is how desperate this fucking idiot is to try to say, yep, comedy, comedy, comedy. Propaganda is comedy. You know, really Debbie Downer propaganda, like identity politics bullshit, is comedy, according to this fucking idiot. Yeah, okay, asshole. Pull your head out of your ass. It doesn't work like that. Fetterman agreed that these debates were almost identical to the ones in the 1990s when alternative comedy was starting, with a focus on honesty and experimentation. The more established comics called it alternative to comedy. It's not unlikely that what comedians have been saying about Nanette, essentially that a better comedian would have been able to criticize comedy with jokes. What the fuck? No, no, no. The 90s, okay, what are you talking about alternative comedy was starting? Shit was still fucking funny. I love how this idiot that's supposed to be a fucking expert is being such a dishonest fucking shitbag, or is just so deluded and clueless that they're trying to make comparisons that don't actually work. Because something that isn't funny, okay, a shift in comedy where, you know, like what they were talking about with the sick comedy, it was more raunchier. Still funny. See, they're trying to compare raunchy comedy to, I'm going to push my identity politics, leftist propaganda bullshit down your fucking throat. I'm going to call it comedy, and you have to sit there and say that I'm a comedic genius for doing it. That's what they're trying to push right now. This is so fucking funny. As a comparison, that doesn't work when you're pushing it. If you let it sit on its own merits, it still wouldn't work. That's why you're trying to cram that square-ass shit through a round peg hole. It don't fucking work like that. Wow. And by what comedians have been saying about Nanette, I mean what they have been saying off the record, save a few fly tweets about the hype around it being overblown. In the face of mounting complaints about the comedy shift to seriousness, what's so interesting about Nanette is something about the compelled comedian, comedians to publicly declare their allegiance to it on Twitter and interviews, as if it were some post-comedy manifesto burning the bridge behind it and showing the way forward. Okay, a blue fucking check mark here. The irrelevant redundancy. Don't know who the fuck this is. Maria Bamfu. If you watch a comedy special on Netflix, please watch Nanette. It's a gorgeous and hopefully inspires me to be a better person. Again, watch Nanette. That's all. Yeah, watch Nanette talk about being kid-diddled and shit like that. Have her fucking play off your fucking guilt and not make one fucking joke. Yeah. Nanette by Hannah Gadsby is stunning. It made me feel happy, angry, sad, and ultimately connected. What a gift. Not comedy. From Camille Nanjiani. Oh, God. That fucking shitbag from Silicon Valley? That triggered little fucking never Trump little fuckwit? Oh, wow. Dinesh? Fucking Dinesh? Oh, wow. Dude. You're not funny. You are the least funny fucking part of Silicon fucking Valley, dude. You are the butt of every fucking joke because you're not funny. Now, the guy who plays Guilfoyle, he's fucking funny. The guy who plays Jared, he's fucking funny. Okay? Richard, the guy who plays him, fucking funny. Even the Trump deranged fuckwit who got fired from the show could be funny. You're really not that funny. You just play neurotic. I don't know why we call you a fucking comedian. Mike Birabiglali, or whatever the fuck his name is. You know, these are all blue check marks. Saw this Hannah Gadsby show tonight. Very original, funny, sad. Made me think quite a bit. Definitely see it if you're in New York City or nearby. Yeah, I sat through her totally depressing, like, make me want to go and draw a hot tub and slice my wrist fucking kid diddling segment in it. And, oh yeah, it made me cry and laugh. Yeah, okay, fuck you. Hannah Gadsby, Nanette is wonderful. If you don't like it, I mean, Jen Kirkman, yeah, she fucking not even that funny. Plenty of famous men are doing basically open mic sets on Netflix where they complain about Twitter for an hour. Go enjoy that. Oh, fuck you. Yeah, go watch some fucking bitch push her leftist shit and talk about how she was diddled and raped and shit like that. Yeah. Oh, God. Kathy, I'm a fucking deranged lunatic griffin. You're a treasure, Hannah Gadsby. I can't get Nanette out of my mind, and I hope everyone sees it, young and old. Well, considering you're not funny, I can see why you liked it so much. Kristen Schall. There's nothing better and more important to watch than Hannah Gadsby at Netflix special right now. All these are fucking blue check marks. That's what's funny. They're all blue fucking check marks, okay? You know, Aparna Nishala. Yes, everyone, check Nan out. Andy Kindler. Yeah. If you wouldn't check the non-blue check marks, they all fucking suck. Now, Bering, he's funny fucking shit. And he even said it ain't funny. But you don't see Bering getting put into this, now do you? Even if all those comedians aren't going to resolve to be less joke-focused, they do not want to be left behind. Comedy will be different after Nanette. Not necessarily because of Nanette, as these changes have been bubbling up for years, but a little bit because, as I said before, the buyers will adjust. No, people are not going to adjust to comedy not being funny. That's not how it's going to work. Okay, your virtue-signaling leftist bullshit will only work with the virtue-signaling leftist little fucks. And they're a minority of the population. So get woke, go broke. You're not going to make a living at this comedy. It ain't going to work. That isn't to say that all comedians have embraced it. Hardly. However, there hasn't really been a backlash as we've come to expect when someone, especially a woman, creates a piece of art that is universally lauded. Oh, bullshit. There was a shit ton of backlash. It was all over Twitter. It was all over YouTube. It was all over the fucking web. So it was only the blue check marks that were going, this is so good. And leftist little fuckwits. And feminists. And the like. Let's be honest. After being around comedians at Montreal's Just for Laughs festival and elsewhere, I'd say there is less complaining and more reckoning with what it means that a special with long stretches without jokes or laughs is held up as the most relevant example of stand-up today. You mean pretty much the whole show not having any jokes or laughs, because she was talking about some really Debbie Downer shit, her being diddled and raped and molested, yeah. And that's such a great thing for fucking comedy. Get fucking bent. This asshole, seriously, is a deranged lunatic and a moron to believe this shit, or at least I believe they believe this shit. Comedy is always changing was the one thing Fetterman wanted to make sure I remembered. It reminded me of my favorite line from I'm Dying Up Here, Showtime's fictionalized drama about the 1970s LA comedy scene. Talk about comedy being taken seriously. After bombing at the show's version of the Comedy Store, a Borscht Belt comedian played by Judy Gold, a few generations older than the vanguard the show follows, says, 100 years from now, people are still going to be listening to Beethoven and oohing over Michelangelo, reading Shakespeare. But us, jokes and shoulders, that's what we are. Jokes for people to laugh at and shoulders for comics down the road to stand on. We're just a faint echo and a joke told 100 years from now. It's something I noticed working on the 2 editions of the 100 jokes that shaped modern comedy. Every joke in history both built on what came before it and rendered it not as vital. Not true. There's a lot of new and original comedy. You're trying to actually pass off that fucking kid diddling fucking draw a hot tub, slice my wrist, fucking comedy show, and I should put air quotes around comedy, as comedy. That's not comedy. You're trying to say that everything is built off the previous thing. But then you're trying to say, oh, this is all new and original. And it's comedy. No, it's not. It's propaganda. It's fucking Debbie Downer fucking bullshit. It's virtue signaling. It's identity politics. It's men are fucking evil. Because she talks about how bad men are because they, she got diddled and all this other shit. Like, fuck you. Seriously, that's not comedy. That's fucking propaganda. That's man-hating fucking propaganda. Wow. Oh, at least we're getting to the end of this shit. The good news is, it's not a zero-sum game. Tomorrow, John Mulaney isn't going to go into Word, highlight all of his punchlines in his act, press delete, and replace them with resigned size. With resigned size, okay. And sure, the press materials for Amazon's Forever Say Yang and Hubbard literally told the staff to write fewer jokes, but a lot of those writers also work on The Good Place, and that show has a ton of jokes. There are still one-liner comedians today, 70 years after they fell out of fashion, but the progress will not be stopped. It's the only consistent jokes and shoulders. That's what comedy is. How maybe not jokes? No. I'm sorry to break it to you, but comedy is not going to progress into this leftist cultural Marxist identity politics, virtue signaling, fucking echo chamber. It's not going to happen. No matter how much you people on the left, like at the fringes, push for that shit, it's not going to happen. The mainstream of society in the West are not going to have that happen. Why do you think conservative comedians are actually doing better? Because they actually tell jokes. Oh God, those two twins. Well, obviously, if they're twins, there are two of them. The twins, Haas brothers, Haas brothers, or something like that. I can't think of their names. They go on Louder with Crowder. Hell, they're funnier than Steven Crowder, and they're selling out shit left, right, and center. And they're conservative, and even with that conservative freaking badge on them, from coming out of the closet as conservatives, they're selling out their shit around the world, wherever they go. I'd like to see this fucking bitch talk about her kid diddle, being kid diddled and all, raped and molested and all that other shit. See if she can sell out the fucking house. You know it ain't gonna happen. She probably couldn't sell out the same size venues that they fucking do with that shit. I mean, anyway, this is a long fucking article. I've spent way too much time on it. I mean, I'm already over 48 minutes covering this shit. But I felt that we needed to go through this and just look at what they're trying to push here as the narrative of what comedy is going to evolve into. This is what because I felt that people need to see this. Because the idea is this is what the left wants to turn comedy into. They want to turn it into it not being funny and call it fucking comedy and push shit down our throats. Like identity politics and, men are evil, because that stand-up fucking comedy special was fucking kind of man-bashy. I mean, you look at the fucking, when you look at her, of course it's going to be man-bashy, leftist fucking dyke that she is. Just saying. Anyway, I've covered this well enough. If you've made it this far, thank you very much. I got to give you credit, because I ranted a little bit. Anyway, I'm just going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.